Of course, we're also seeing the energy sector move higher as well today, oil rebounding from a 4-day slide. Let's talk about diesel for a moment here, because growing concerns over the diesel and heating oil shortage in the U.S. as we head into the winter months is really weighing on markets, certainly on investors' minds, with U.S. stockpiles at new lows and the price of fuel at record highs. So we want to bring in Chunzi, who joins us now from Houston with more. And Chunzi, I did not realize this until I read your story, but heating oil and diesel are the same thing. And this is something that people have been warning about for a while, this shortage, which is only going to intensify in the months ahead. Give us a sense of how bad it's going to be.
Yeah, right now diesel inventories are the lowest ever for this time of year in the U.S., and it's the worst on the East Coast, where we're most reliant on overseas imports. And what that means is that residents in New England are paying 80% more for heating oil than they did this time last year. And it's just as bad on the other side of the Atlantic, where Europe diesel supplies are going to get a hit when they pivot away from Russian fuels in a few months.
Talk to us a little bit about why. How did we get here? Why is this an issue right now?
Well, we saw a lot of refining capacity shut down in the U.S. and in Europe, and then when demand came back, we just don't have enough to feed that balance. And then when Russia invaded Ukraine, of course, that took a lot of diesel supply out of the market, and that's going to come from the U.S. Gulf Coast, and that tightens supplies globally and on the East Coast particularly.
And one thing as well that I learned from reading your story is that the U.S. is a net exporter of diesel, but last year we actually imported diesel from Russia. All of that is subject to change later on this year when there's some new sanctions that are going into effect.
Yes, the U.S. did rely on Russian fuel to heat a lot of homes in the East Coast when there's a cold snap last winter. And this year, of course, Russian fuel is banned, and the U.S. is going to rely a lot more on Europe to supply that. And we're going to see Europe not being able to step up because of its own energy security at stake.
We talk about sort of the potential hit, the economic hit. Can you give us a sense here of how we quantify that? Where do we expect to see, or where would we expect to feel some of the pain if this continues?
Yeah, because diesel is so deeply embedded in everything, and from manufacturing to transportation, we can expect expensive fuel to raise the cost of everything from a Thanksgiving turkey to electronics. And that's going to fuel inflation just when it seems to be getting a break from lower gasoline prices at the pump. So it's really everybody's going to feel it.
All right, something to keep an eye on, and a great story written today that really kind of breaks down just how deep this problem is right now and how deep it could get.